take a drink of water, and we are ready to move back to our next speaker. Our next speaker was going to be Michael Munson, the Executive Director of Ford. Unfortunately, he was unable to make it, so he did, however, send his remarks, and so one of our lovely Persist members, Laura, is going to speak on his behalf. I will give you a little context about the organization. Ford is an organization focused on improving the lives of transgender individuals by building stronger connections, providing resources, and empowering growth through knowledge. Forge is a national training and technical assistance provider funded in part through the U.S. Department of Justice, Office on Violence Against Women, the Office for Victims of Crime, and the National Institutes of Health, and the Department of Health Services. Munchen's educational background is in psychology, and which of course informs his work. Thank you again to Laura for offering his remarks on his behalf, and let's welcome our lovely Persist member.
Thank you. I did the same thing, and I had to look up quick what Forge did, so I'm going to do the same thing she just did. Forge strives to create a world where all voices, people, and bodies are valued, respected, honored, and celebrated, where every individual feels safe, supported, respected, and empowered. So I just thought that was an amazing thing. Let's go back to where the speech is. Now, these are not my words, however, I agree 100% with what I'm saying. So, more than 45 years ago, Harvey Milk, the first openly gay person to be elected to public office in California, said it takes no compromise to give people their rights. It takes no money to respect the individual. It takes no political deal to give people freedom. We've come a long way in those 50 years, but we still have a long way to go. Harvey Milk's profound but very simple statements about giving people their rights and respecting individuals is still all too often out of reach in today's hotly political, radicalized, and polarized world. Some people think the voting isn't important because what politicians do or don't do doesn't really affect their day-to-day lives. The reality is that who is in office, who we elect, directly impacts all of our lives in both large and small ways. Do any of you do the following? Use public bathrooms, go to school, play sports, use a name or pronoun other than the one assigned to you at birth, access mental health services, wear clothes required by your school or work dress code, receive physical health care related to your gender identity, go to a school dance with the person you love, or at least like, have a pride flag or button on your backpack, read award-winning books that some other people may not like, are sexually active or use contraception, contemplate getting married one day, believe in treating all people with respect and dignity. If any of those things are true for you or any of your friends, what politicians do has everything to do with you and how you are able to live your day-to-day life. 83% of transgender and non-binary Wisconsinites surveyed shared with Forge that they experience mental health challenges that impact their daily activities, 83%. This is not because being trans is inherently detrimental to people's mental health. What is causing harm to trans, non-binary people and loved ones is other people's attitudes and beliefs about being trans and the subsequent actions those people take to limit and denigrate trans folks. In the last month alone, several new controversies began in Wisconsin that we'll certainly be hearing more about. Parents in Eau Claire sued the school district for implementing policies that protect trans students who feel it's unsafe to discuss their gender identity with their parents. Just this week, backlash began over news that the Wisconsin Department of Public Health had added to their website resources for gender-expansive preschoolers. Wauwatosa parents objected to a new trans and sexual orientation inclusive sex ed curriculum. We may still hear more about the Milwaukee Allen Field Elementary School counselor Marissa Darling, who is currently on leave after a video surfaced of her stating she would refuse to support transgender students. We probably haven't heard the last of the Archdiocese of Milwaukee's new policy formalizing transphobia by forbidding anyone from sharing their pronouns, requiring staff and students to conform to the clothing, sports teams, and restrooms aligning with the sex they were assigned at birth, and banning medical transition on archdiocesan property. Some of the issues trans and queer people face are longstanding. Wisconsin is the only state in which discrimination against people on the basis of sexual orientation is outlawed, but it's still legal under state law to discriminate against people based on their gender identity or expression. Our elected representatives are critical to the lives of all of us. Our Wisconsin state representatives are the ones who have been introducing bills to keep trans students off sports teams and keep trans people under the age of 18 from accessing hormones and surgery. Our federal senator, who is in a position to vote for or against the Equality Act that will outlaw discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity nationwide, has been quoted as saying that trans women in women's bathrooms is creepy. I'm guessing we've all seen at least one of their ads proclaiming their negative views and untrue statements about trans youth. Studies consistently show that the majority of Americans are in favor of laws that protect trans people. Yet, multiple lawmakers and candidates in Wisconsin do not reflect the beliefs of the many. We can change this. It's because our government is made up solely of by those who participate in it. In other words, those who vote. And if more anti-trans people vote than we do, they are in a position to pass legislation that hurts us all and takes away our fundamental human rights. If you are of voting age, vote. Need to get registered? You can do it right here. No matter what your age or your ability to vote, there are a lot of things you can do. Here are 7 things you can do right now. First, encourage your parents, friends, the adults in your life who are able to vote to vote. Number 2, use your friends' names and pronouns. 3, be an upstander when you can. 4, find commonalities among intersectional issues like racism, gun violence, reproductive rights, immigration, disability, and language access. Number 5, be vocal about the issues you care about when it is safe for you to do so. 6, be a team player. Work with others to organize, advocate, and take action. 7, as John Lewis said, never ever be afraid to make some noise and get in good trouble, necessary trouble. Please remember that you matter. You have a community that cares about you. Together, we can create a world where all of us have access to core human rights. Together, we can make some good trouble to ensure that all of us treat each other with the respect, care, and compassion we each deserve.